This is the Free Hour, where we turn locked doors into open roads. I'm Trevor Turner, and I've lived on both sides of the wall. I built this space to show you that no matter where you've been, no matter what you've gone through, your life's not over. It's just getting good. This isn't just about motivation. This is transformation in real time. Welcome back to your hour, the Free Hour. Let's make it count. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Free Hour. It's your boy Trevor Turner, and we're back with another video. We are back with another episode in our ABCs series, our Free Hour ABCs, the ABCs of Tree in the context of emotional intelligence. This is where we talk about how we unpack our emotions. This is where we talk about things like trauma. This is where we talk about the way that our feelings can sometimes get in the way of what it is that we're trying to do, but also in the same way that our feelings can be a compass that guide us to where we need to go. This is where we learn how to handle our emotions, handle the emotions of other people, and how we are able to interact with other people in an emotionally healthy way. This is where we learn to thrive and not survive in the midst of emotional situations. This is where we learn how to be proactive instead of reactive in emotional situations. By the end of this video, I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this helped you in any way. Let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about, something that you feel like you can't wait for, you need it now, and I will do my best to make it a video for you. So let's get started. And today we're talking about insight. Insight is the emotional intelligence skill that transforms experiences into deeper self-awareness, leading to authentic connections and personal growth. Have you ever experienced an aha moment that changed your perspective forever? Insight is a profound understanding of self, emotions, and experiences. For me, my aha moment came when I was doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And I realized that a lot of the things that I was bringing into new situations was stuff that I was bringing from my past. I was repeating patterns because I was carrying the same baggage. I was repeating patterns because I was looking for the same patterns. And one of the things that gave me that aha moment was the fact that when I realized that I was the author of my life, at the end of the day, I was the one who decided how to go about things. I was the one who chose the people to bring into my life. I was the one who was making the decisions that were leading to my outcomes. And that was my aha moment for me. It gave me the insight. It gave me the self-awareness, the self-reflection to realize that not only was I the reason that things were going the way they were going, but I could also be the reason that things could go another way. Insight connects deeply with self-awareness and emotional clarity. Dr. Tasha Eurich's studies on self-awareness. Now, Dr. Tasha Eurich is a psychologist, author of Insight, and renowned researcher on self-awareness. Eurich's research found that people with high self-awareness, insight, are more fulfilled, make better decisions, and build stronger relationships. Yet fewer than 15% of people have genuinely high self-awareness. This means that fewer than 15% take a look at how they feel. They take a look at what situations made them feel. They take a look at what brought them into these situations. They take a look at what they bring to the table. They take a look at what that other person brought to the table that they either liked or didn't like. Fewer than 15% of people take the time to develop and encourage insight, which is self-awareness, and a lot of times within themselves when it comes to emotional intelligence. Fewer than 15% of people are able to say, this is why I feel the way that I feel about this situation or that situation. Because a lot of times we just ascribe it to that other person. We say, no, that person doing that is the reason that I feel the way that I feel. But there's always something deeper than that. There's always a reason that's within you, because you can control the way that you react or how that you feel about certain situations. You can control how much your emotions batter you or torrent you or control you. You can control those things. And if you have that insight, if you have that self-awareness, it really helps you to get there. And fewer than 15% of people have that insight. Insight is a tool to understand underlying emotions behind behaviors. Insight can sometimes be as simple as asking why. Starting with why, getting to the why. whenever emotion pops up, especially anger, ask yourself why. Why do I feel like this in this moment? And don't settle for that first answer because they did me wrong, because they did this, because they did that to me. Get deeper than that. Why did that action make you feel the way that you feel now? Is it betrayal? Is it hurt? Is it insecurity? Is it loss? Is it loneliness? What is it that's driving those things to bubble up within you when it comes to your emotions? You need to ask yourself why. You need to take that step back. You need to realize that there's always something deeper. And then also, if you do take that step back and you realize that it isn't anything deeper, it's literally just that person doing that to you, you need to ask yourself why you allow that person to have that much power over you. Insight supports empathy, it supports communication, and it supports relationship management. First of all, when you have insight into yourself, into where your feelings stem from, if you have insight into what causes you to feel certain things and feel the way that you feel, it's very much easier to step into somebody else's shoes. If you can say, okay, this person doing that causes this loop to come back into my life that was caused by somebody else, that was caused by my parents, that was caused by my abandonment, that was caused by my exes, that was caused by all of these things. And you'll say, okay, that loop happens or those feelings kick up because of this trigger, because if somebody does something similar to what that other person did, now you're able to say, okay, I have that insight into how my own emotions get kicked up, and you will start to be able to put yourself into other people's shoes easier. There's a reason that emotions weren't kicked up. They're not attacking you. You're not the bad guy. Something must have happened. There must be baggage there. There must be betrayal linked to an action that you did. They're not saying that you're a bad person by getting upset when you do something similar to the person that ripped their heart out. You'll be able to step into their shoes a lot easier when you have the insight into yourself. You'll be able to communicate easier when you have that insight into yourself, because you'll be able to say, this is why I feel the way that I feel. You'll be able to use I statements instead of you statements, because when you start using you statements in conversations, when you start making it about the other person, it's very easy for that person to get defensive. It's very easy for that person to take it as an attack on their character and not an attack on their behaviors. What happens is when you are able to use your I statements, because you have an insight into what's really going on, instead of just saying you did that, you pissed me off, you're able to say, I don't like that because I feel like this when this happens. And you are able to put it into words because you have taken the time to develop that insight into your own feelings and where they come from. It makes communication that much easier. And empathy and communication are the building blocks for relationship management. When you have empathy for the person that you're with in a relationship, when you are able to communicate freely, clearly, and without the emotion driving everything behind it, the relationship becomes that much easier to manage. A moment of insight that transformed how I handle emotional situations is going to be when I was doing my cognitive behavioral therapy. One of the things that happened is that I realized that a lot of the things that I was learning about masculinity, about femininity, about relationship roles, they were just wrong. I was learning them from somebody who didn't understand these things themselves. I was learning from people who didn't have an instruction manual. I was learning from my parents. I was learning from the people that I grew up with. They didn't know this stuff either. They just did what worked for them and what fit for them. And what happened is that when I was trying to find situations that fit with them, I wasn't bringing the same type of baggage that they were bringing. I wasn't bringing in the same type of upbringing that they were bringing. I wasn't bringing in the same type of emotional turmoil and emotional situations and mental situations and physical situations that they were bringing in. The reasons that it worked for them is because it worked for them. And in a lot of ways, it didn't work very well. So when I was going through my cognitive behavioral therapy and I was saying, no, they should act like this because this is what I saw, or this is what I experienced, or this is what was going on in my home. And then I took that step back and I realized, no, wait a minute, what was going on in my home traumatized me. What was going on in my home left me scarred. What was going on in my home was unhealthy, and I was able to see the unhealthy relationship dynamics. And I had that aha moment. I realized that I was bringing in a whole lot of bullshit, a whole lot of unrealistic expectations. and a whole lot of hoops that other person had to jump through. It wasn't just baggage I was bringing a whole lot of bullshit. And that was my aha moment, to get that insight into how I was fucking up and starting this destructive pattern of relationships. Now let's talk about, obviously, the most important thing: how to develop your personal insight. Some practical steps for developing personal insight include reflective journaling, mindful meditation, and seeking constructive feedback from trusted individuals. One of the things that I like to do with reflective journaling, when I start my day journaling, that is my set my intention journaling. That is where I write down the things that I want to do. When I do my reflective journaling, when I think about what I've been doing throughout the week, when I think about what has worked and what has not worked, when I think about the situations that I've gotten into, the reflective journaling is what brings out the nuggets of truth in my feelings about situations, what brings about the nuggets of truth in how I chose to interact and deal with certain situations. The reflective journaling is how you are able to get to self-awareness. If you start to look at, okay, what patterns am I still holding on to? What bad habits am I still holding on to? What emotional reactions am I still holding on to? What baggage am I still trying to hold on to and cling to? What things from my past that I thought that I let go, that I thought that I was healing from, have not really left me as much as I thought they have? Then we talk about mindful meditation. Mindful meditation, where you become the observer of your thoughts and the observer of how you feel in certain situations. You start with your body scan, and then you just let the thoughts go, but you are the observer of those thoughts. You don't let those thoughts take you away. You simply observe what these thoughts are. You observe how these thoughts are making you feel, and then you think about why. Why do I feel the way that I feel? And without judgment. You don't judge yourself for feeling a certain way about something that you thought that you would let go of, or you thought that you grew out of. You just note the fact that, okay, there's still some residual feelings there. There's still something going on there. There's still something that I feel some type of way about in that situation. And you just note it down. You keep it in your mental Rolodex. It helps to develop insight and to know about these situations. Okay, this situation, it still makes me feel some type of way because when I was doing my meditations, it was still there. And then seeking constructive feedback from trusted individuals. If you have someone that you trust that interacts with you on a regular basis, that sees you and how you act and how you interact and how you deal with situations, you can ask them very guided questions. When this certain situation happens, how do you think I deal with it? What do you think my go-to strategy for dealing with people like this is? What are some of the things you think I could do better? What are some of the things you think that I could do that would align more with trying to do better? Take what they have to say into consideration, because if these are trusted individuals, if these are individuals that know you well and you trust what they have to say, then they are people who are going to probably have your best interests at heart. One, there are people who know you well enough to know when you are engaging in unhealthy patterns. There are also people who know you well enough to know when you're coming out of your character when certain situations happen. So take what they say into consideration. Take what they say into heavy consideration, because a lot of times from the outside looking in is just as 20/20 as hindsight is 20/20. And then we talk about the Johari Window model, which was developed by psychologists Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham. A psychological tool illustrating 4 self-awareness areas: open, blind, hidden, and unknown. Now, the thing about the open area, these are the things that are known to you and known to other people. This is the area that you want to increase because it is the area of authenticity, honesty, openness. Then you have the blind area, which is blind spots. The blind spots are normally known to other people, but they're not known to you. These are the things that you ignore about yourself. These are the things that you thought you've moved past, but you need that constructive feedback from other people to realize that no, you haven't moved past this. No, you're still stuck on this. No, you're still keeping up that habit. No, you haven't done as much as you said that you could have done. No, you still scroll your phone way too much. No, you still stay up too late. No, you're still kind of this and still kind of that. The next one is going to be the hidden. The hidden is the stuff that only you know. This is the secret of parts of yourself. One of the things that happens is you will find yourself hiding things because of you're ashamed of them, because you can't talk about them because they're crime and there's no statute of limitations. You're embarrassed of them. There are things that you don't want other people to know about you. This leads to things like deceitfulness. This thing leads to things like trying to make up for it by trying to be boastful or trying to put on a glaze of arrogance or a false air of confidence because your hidden quadrant is so big. One of the things that happens is that if you have things that you feel like other people are going to, one, make fun of you for or judge you for, whatever the case, you need to find somebody that you trust and move towards making these things open so that you can be authentic with people. When it comes to committed relationships, this is where that area kind of needs to be delved into, not necessarily at work, not with your friends, but if you're going to be moving committed and faithful with somebody, this is the area that needs to be moved more towards openness. One of the things you can also do is you can leave the things that are hidden now hidden, just don't add any more stuff to that hidden quadrant. And then we talk about unknown. These are the things about yourself you haven't discovered yet. This is why it's so important to meditate. This is why it's so important to reflective journal, because this is where the things that you will find out more about yourself, this is where you will have those aha moments like, oh my God, I didn't know that I still felt like that. Oh my God, I didn't know that I was good at that or I could think on that level. I didn't know that I could do this or that I wanted to do this or that I was even interested in doing that. This is an area that you need to search the depths of yourself and try to do it on a regular basis and move those to the open as well. Try to move toward openness because that is what enhances insight. Insight is a starting point. It's not an end point. I encourage actionable changes based upon your new insights because they help you grow. When you find out something about yourself, when you find out something about the way that you feel, when you find out something about the way that you react, when you find out something about how you've been coming into and interacting with people in relationships, try to make changes. Use that insight to make actionable changes. And of course, regularly revisit and reflect on the insights that you've gained. What I encourage you guys to do this week is to journal about a recent emotional situation to uncover some deeper insights. What I want you to do is I want you to realize that, hey, I felt some type of way in this situation. Why? And go deep to the source of it. Go back to whether it's your parents and your abandonment. Go back to whether it's your first ex and they did some shit that is similar to this person. Go back and find out the real source so that you can get that insight into what's going on with you. Insight opens the door to your deepest potential. Step inside. One of the things that helped me with insight the most is when I found that I was somebody who, I loved to talk about the things that I learned and about the things that I came across. And I found out that there were people out there who were willing to or were interested in, especially stuff like this. When I found out that this is something that was going to help me, when I found out where my feelings came from and that I could fix them, when I found out that my feelings were something that I could control, when I found out that my feelings were something that I could manage, and I got that insight and that aha moment that other people needed that help too, that is literally the reason that I'm doing this here. And that's why insight is so important. Insight is the beginning of this journey. It's not the end. Leave me a comment about something, about your aha moment, about where your insight has taken you. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let me know about any topics that you want to talk about. All right? This is your boy Trevor Turner. Deuces.